Alright, this video is going to show what it takes to remove the head off of a 2012 Toyota Prius. First of all, you have to start with the windshield wipers. Take that off. You remove your wiring harness. Remove your intake manifold. It's right here. Just a couple bolts, couple studs. That's pretty easy. Take your throttle body out. It's the intake, bottom of your intake manifold. You need to remove your water pump. It's an electric water pump. But what I did is I disconnected the hoses from the back of the housing. There's where the water goes from the water pump through the timing cover into the engine block. And that's not a gasket, it's just RTV throughout that entire area. You want to keep special note of the O-rings. Those O-rings are used for sending oil pressure to the VVT system. Yeah, I've removed one of my the drive pulley from the crankshaft that drives the camshafts through the timing chain. I've taken that off. You have to remove the camshafts because the head bolts, which are a special drive, are below the mounting brackets for the camshaft. So you see 10 of those head bolts right there. And those are right down in there. Down in the bottom you got 5 in the front, 5 in the back. You have to disconnect the EGR system. It's a lot bigger job than what I was expecting. Also the same with the fuel rail. I'm going to look at some of the parts that I've taken off. So here's the camshafts that are removed. You got to remove this whole carriage here. I was able to leave the camshafts mounted in the block, or in the camshaft carrier, I guess, by just leaving these bolts in. But the bolts on the outside and on the inside, all the way down, those hold this assembly onto the head, and the head bolts are right underneath here, so you can't get to them until you remove this. So here's the camshaft, the timing gears. You can see the paint on that sprocket, or on that chain link. That one is the crankshaft one. So I'll reset these before I put it back on, obviously. Yeah, and there's 3 painted links. You can kind of see the other ones down there. There's another one there. Those line up with the timing marks on the sprocket. Okay, so here's the timing chain cover. It's on the inside of it, obviously. Here's the water pump mounts on the other side of this. That's what you have to take off. I disconnected my water pump lines. I think my thermostat's in here. I haven't checked yet, but if it is, I'm going to go ahead and change that. There's the timing gear that was on the crankshaft that I removed. This model does have a pulley. I think it might be a harmonic balancer. I'm not really sure. It didn't look like it from looking at it. But that's actually what seals on your timing cover. So I guess that's probably why they didn't use it, because there's no accessories that are driven. Here is your timing chain tensioner. So that moves in and out. There's a little locking tab on it. You can use that to reset it. Not exactly sure how I'm going to get all that back together, but yeah, we'll figure it out. This is the tensioner. This is on the tension side. The other side's on the slack side. Here's the intake manifold here, throttle body. Some coolant lines go in there. Watch out when you're taking those apart. I sprayed myself a little bit. Motor mount, took that off, just give me some little more room. Wipers, as I had said. No, I forgot about the air intake. So this whole assembly needs to come off. I'll remove the heat shield from the exhaust manifold. There's your crank pulley. Yeah, as I said, there's no accessories, so it's kind of weird to have that, but you know, there's even a groove on it for a pulley. Here's the valve cover. That came off pretty easy. That wasn't a big deal. You do have to. I think the only reason you have to take the windshield wipers off is to get your coil packs out, because otherwise the coil packs won't come out of the top of the head. There's plenty of videos on there. There's the $600 water pump from Toyota. Here's the coil packs. The wiper assembly. That's this metal structure here. You also have to take off the oil filter housing. So the timing chain cover, it has like 40 different purposes. One of them is to be an oil bypass from the oil pump. So it's kind of a lot of work. You also need to take off the inner fender well. There's about 30 push pins on that. It's more of the structure here for the windshield wipers. So, I don't know, it's taken about maybe 4 or 5 hours so far. I'm getting close to popping the head off. I just need to, like I said, those head bolts use a special wrench, so I need to get that, or a special drive. It's not a hex, it's like a, I don't know, like an, 10-sided something. Let's take a look down at the bottom. Gotta see here on the light. I took the wheel off, just giving it a little more room. Okay, what you have here, there's your crankshaft right there with your timing gear, or your, not a timing gear, but I guess the pickup for the hall sensor, for your crank position sensor, I guess that's what it is. Then that drive, or that timing, or that chain that you see there, that drives the oil pump. So down there on the bottom is the oil pump. And then these two holes right here, those two holes are where the water, or where the oil comes from to go to the oil filter. Goes in one of those, goes in out the other. You can see a little yellow chain mark on there. I don't know why you'd need that for the oil pump. You don't need to time that, but there's the tensioner for that. I'm going to leave that all alone. I don't have to mess with that. I guess you can kind of even get in there and inspect your connecting rod. You can see the bottom of the connecting rod right there. If I get the light just right. So yeah, this is about 10 times more work than what I expected. But I'd say once I get the head off, probably got another, I don't know, 10 hours to put it all back together. So it's better than the quote that I got from the dealership. Oh, you got a bunch of sensors down on the back side of the engine too. I'm not sure where they all were. Some oil pressure sensors. Oh, O2 sensor. And just a variety of things. Removed the studs, or the nuts on the studs. For 2012, it wasn't rusted very much, so that worked out really nice. It's nice little fabricated header there. I took this knock sensor off originally. I think it's a knock sensor. I don't know what it is, but I took that off originally. I wouldn't have had to take that off because it's not actually mounted to the head. It's mounted to the block. So, next video, I'll pop this head off and go from there. I haven't taken the spark plugs out yet. Need to figure out what size socket. But these tubes, it's not really intuitive on how they come out, or if they actually do. So hopefully they do, and make getting the spark plug out a little bit easier. But I haven't figured out how to do that yet. I'll try to do a little better job taking some more videos, putting this thing back together. While I've got it out this far. One other thing that I have done on this car is cleaned out the intake manifold. Here's your EGR port. Here's your EGR valve, and this is your heat exchanger to heat your engine coolant up. That's that metal thing. You got some exhaust coming in the bottom, then going back out, and engine coolant. I took the lines off. I was going to try to remove this, but I decided not to. Now, what I did instead is unscrewed this bolt, this through bolt from the cam carriage. I don't really know what to call that. But this EGR valve, when my head gasket blew originally, I thought it was EGR valve going bad because there was a recall on that it would shutter when the engine would start up. But then it was using a lot of water, and I realized that it was actually just leaking into the cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and take this EGR valve off once I get the head off. And actually, I need to. Yeah, I think you actually have to do that because you got a bolt. Yeah, this EGR valve is bolted to the head, so that's going to be fun to get off. There's a bolt down there in the bottom on the back side of that bracket. You can see one of the bolts. There's another one on the other side of the bracket, right here on the other side of that, which is almost impossible to get to. I just worked on it for about 10 minutes, haven't gotten it yet. So, I think that's about it. Don't ever recommend this ever again. My next car is not going to have a head gasket. It's going to be electric. So that's all for now, and we'll pick back up once we have the head off, and we'll take a look at it.